All right, here's what's going on. I have tried to record this thing at least 17 times and I keep screwing up, so I'm just gonna power through. And I apologize if I stutter or if I say a wrong word, but we're just gonna go through this, okay? Hi! Welcome to online learning. I am super proud of the progress that y'all have made. Transitioning onto this online learning platform has been really challenging for everybody involved, and y'all have done a fantastic job. I am super proud of the progress that you have made. So thank you. Thank you for engaging on the forums and for really, giving it a solid effort. Y'all have done some really fantastic work this semester, and it's been an absolute joy to work with you, so thanks. So this week we're going to be going through stage makeup. Unfortunately, we had some more time dedicated to this in the original syllabus, but because we lost a week and because lots of things got shifted around, unfortunately we were kind of shoehorning this into the last couple of days of class. But I'm going to go ahead and post a whole bunch of resources for you guys, so you can go back and you can download those, save them on your computer, save the bookmarks. I'm gonna post a whole bunch of YouTube links, tutorials, and some PDFs so that y'all have access to this information and you can go ahead and play with it and practice it throughout the summer in your copious free time. I personally enjoy doing makeup at midnight on a Saturday night because I don't have anything better to do. So it can be a really fun thing to just kind of play around with if you're home and you're bored. So we're going over stage makeup. Today we're going to go over just kind of what is commonly referred to as basic corrective makeup. I do want to reiterate that the term corrective does not imply that there's anything wrong with anybody's face. We are all beautiful human beings. We use the term corrective as a way to just kind of shorthand that we are creating a clean palette to present on stage so that our audience sees the best version of us. Typically when you walk out onto a stage, there's gonna be those really bright stage lights on you, and sometimes the lighting is going to be really harsh, sometimes it's going to be really soft, but that lighting is typically going to wash you out. It's going to make you look really flat. So we use basic stage corrective makeup, we use highlight, shadow, we do some basic contouring, and we use that to make sure that our face has a lot of definition so that when those bright stage lights hit us, it's not just completely washing us out. We're not presenting kind of this flat oval to our audiences. We want to make sure they can see our eyes. We want to make sure they can see our lips. We want to make sure they can see the expressions that we are making as actors. I apologize, the dogs are also going to be barking in the background because it's almost supper time. So here we are. Sorry. So we're using this basic corrective as a way to present this nice clean palette, this contoured face to our audiences so they can see our expressions. We can use this as our base for any character makeup that we may need to put on top of it. So when we talk about character makeup, we're talking about things like old age makeup. If we need to make an actor look younger, there are techniques you can use to do that. And then any sort of makeup choices that we may make for our characters. So if your character is somebody who would typically wear a lot of makeup, if they're a performer or if they're kind of a glamorous sort of character, that's going to go on top of your basic stage makeup. You can also do, really fun effects like blood and scars, and if you're playing the witch and Into the Woods, you may have some crazy character makeup, or if you need to make yourself look really dirty, or if you need to make yourself look like you've been living in the woods for 100 years. There are lots and lots of things that you can do to really help your character come out. with makeup. It's a lot of fun to play with. So I really encourage you to play with it and to experiment with it. So I'm going to post a PDF that has a really, really great step-by-step process on highlight, shadow, and contouring. It's really in-depth, and I encourage you to go through that entire process, especially if you don't have a stage makeup process that you are comfortable with yet. Go through that whole process and see what really works on your face. See what you feel like your face really needs in order to accentuate your lines and the contours of your face. You'll probably find that you don't want to or you don't need to do everything that is in that step-by-step guide, but going through it a couple of times just to kind of see how everything works on your individual face is a really great idea. The other thing to take into consideration is the size of the stage that you're going to be working on. We've talked a lot about scope and about scale in regards to our costume design. So when we're on smaller, more intimate stages, things can be smaller, they can be a little more realistically scaled. Like if we're doing something in Leggett, we can be a little more natural. But if we're doing something on Keenan's stage, we need things to be really, really big and really, really bold because our audience is going to be way back there. So we need to make sure that they can see everything really, really clearly. So our makeup choices are going to be bigger and bolder for that Keenan style stage. And you're going to look at your face and you're going to say, this is way too much makeup. It's probably just enough makeup if you think that it's way too much makeup. So I'm going to go through my personal stage makeup process. Sorry, dogs. I'm going to go through my personal stage makeup process that I use when I'm acting. I typically act on smaller, more intimate stages, so my shapes are going... Sorry. My shapes are going to be a little more subtle. Okay, they've stopped. No, they're going. They're still going. Yep, no. Up, there we go. Husband's calming her down. Yep. We're good? We're good. Yay! Y'all, I don't know how to edit things, so this is just going to be one stream of consciousness. I am not good at videos. Sorry. So I'm going to go through my personal makeup process. This is what I do for my basic stage corrective. So the first thing we want to take into consideration is our skin. This is my face. This is my face with absolutely no makeup on it. I don't know if anybody noticed / cares. In class when I wear my glasses, one of my lenses has these little lines going up and down. It's because I have a lazy eye. So this eye tends to want to move in towards my nose. I'm not making cross eyes at you on purpose. This is just how my face is. So this is my face, and kind of the thing to remember is that this is the only face that we get. So starting to learn how to take care of it when you're younger is really going to benefit you as you age. You want to make sure that you are cleaning your face daily. You want to make sure that you're moisturizing on a daily basis. The more healthy your skin is, the better your makeup is going to look, and you'll appreciate it when you're my age. So definitely look into what sort of skincare your particular skin needs. Everybody's skin is different. Some people have drier skin, some people have oily skin, some people are kind of in the middle, and there's a bazillion different products out there to help your skin stay really, really clean and healthy. So my personal daily skincare routine, I have very dry skin, so I use an oil-based cleanser on a daily basis. I like the Burt's Bees stuff. I like the way that it smells. So I'm going to use that to clean my skin on a daily basis. But when I'm out doing shows, I don't want to, bring this whole big bottle along with me. So typically what I'm going to throw into my makeup kit is going to be your typical little makeup wipe, makeup remover sort of thing. You want to make sure that you have a package of these in your makeup kit. It's just, you'll appreciate it. You want to start your makeup routine with a nice clean face. So I'm just going to take one of these little friends out here. I'm just going to give myself a good little once over, even though I don't have any makeup on. I'm still kind of cleaning away all the dirt of the day. And that's going to give me a nice clean palette to work from. The next thing that I like to do, both when I'm doing stage makeup and on a daily basis, is I use a toner. And this is a witch hazel toner. This is basically it's going to open up your pores a little bit. I just rub a little bit into my hands and press that into my face, and that is going to open up your pores so that when you go onto the moisturizing step, your pores are going to accept that moisturizer. So I will typically do that morning and night. I don't usually take toner with me in my stage makeup kit, but some people do. So that's kind of your personal preference. Then I'm going to go ahead and moisturize. Everybody's moisturizer is a little different. I like this particular brand. It's there we go. It's a Korean makeup brand moisturizer. It has a really nice scent to it, and it just gives me a really nice, clean feel. So typically when you're moisturizing, you want to move your hands upward. That's going to pull the skin up as opposed to pulling it down. You want to get your neck too. You want to get next to your nostrils. I tend to get really, really dry around my nose piercing, so I always kind of focus on that. And then you want to make sure that you're very, very gently moisturizing around your eyes as well. You want to do your best to not pull on the skin around your eyes, since that skin tends to be really, really delicate. So we're going to moisturize. All right, so now we have our clean face, we have our moisturized face. The next thing that I like to do for stage makeup is use a primer. So a primer is something that you put on before you put on your foundation, and this is going to be something that is going to give your face just a really, really smooth palette for that foundation to lay on top of and stick to. As actors, you get out there on stage and you sweat a lot. A really, really good primer is going to prep your skin so that your foundation can stick to that primer and so that your makeup is less likely to sweat off. If you're doing something really, really strenuous, you're likely going to lose some makeup, but a primer is really, really going to help. There are a bazillion different types of primers out there, so you can choose one that is going to work with your skin and work with your skin tone. A lot of primers have color correction in them to minimize any sort of issues that you may have in regards to if you have any rosy areas, or if you have dark under eye skin, or if you have any sort of unevenness in your skin. A colored primer is going to help that kind of neutralize itself. So I use a green-based primer because for me it tends to neutralize these under eye circles that I can never quite seem to get rid of because I'm always exhausted, and it also kind of evens out any sort of pinkness I have on my face. But Everybody's face is different, so you'll have to do a little research to see what primer is best for you. And there are non-color correcting primers out there as well. They're everywhere. So I'm just going to squirt a little pea-sized amount. And again, I'm going to go up and dot just a little bit around my eyes and get it down on my neck as well. There we go. All right. So now we are primed and we're ready to move on to our foundation. Just like primer, there's a bazillion different foundations out there as well. Some people prefer everybody prefers a different brand. Some people prefer a drugstore brand. Some people prefer a more high-end brand. Some people prefer to use a stage makeup brand for their stage. So you will see a lot of folks using stuff like, there we go, stuff like the Ben Nye or stuff like the Krylon. This is a cream-based foundation. It tends to be pretty heavy. It tends to be a little on the greasy side, but it offers really, really great coverage. So if you need a really, really solid coverage, the cream-based foundations, I prefer Ben Nye, but there's lots of stage makeup brands. These are really, really great. A lot of folks will use these for larger stages. So if you're doing something in Keenan, this may be a really, really good option for you. Personally, because again, I usually tend to work in more intimate stages, I just use street foundation. I use my regular everyday foundation. I do a lot of shopping at Ulta. But any foundation will do. You're going to want to find something that is as close to your skin tone as possible. If you are particularly fair, if you have very, very light, like extremely light toned skin, you may want to go like a half a shade darker just to give you a little bit more color, because again, those stage lights are just going to really wash everything out. I tend to choose something that's about half a shade darker because I am a little on the pale side. So, but yeah, so this is a foundation that I prefer. You can put it on in a variety of different ways. I'm really old school. I use my fingertips. I like the way that that my fingers kind of warm up the foundation as I spread it on. Some people prefer to use a makeup sponge, and some people prefer to use a foundation brush. It really honestly comes down to personal preference. Experiment and see what works best for you. But I like to use my fingers. So this particular foundation comes with a little wand. I tend to do a little dab, 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 dab. And then I'm just going to very evenly spread that over my face. You want to make sure that you're blending down onto the neck. Woof. Yep, woof. Everything's terrible. And you're blending up across the forehead as well. You just want to get a nice, even layer of the foundation across your face. This is going to be our palette that we work from. Now you will see some folks prefer to do their contour, their highlight, and their shadow prior to putting on foundation. That's fine too. It really does, again, come down to personal preference. There is no right way to do makeup. It really is about experimentation, and it's about playing around with what works best for you. I hope this isn't streaky. I am trying my best here, friends. There we go. All right, so once you have your foundation in place, you want to make sure that it is evenly distributed across your face. Then we're going to get into our highlight and our shadow. I tend to do a little bit of under eye correction during this step as well because, again, I've got these really great under eye circles going on here. So I will typically use a under eye cream. Again, this is just an Ulta brand that tends to work well with my skin. I am trying to get some out of it because of the coronavirus. I'm starting to run out of things and I haven't been able to replace it. So this particular brand comes in a little wand and I'm just going to highlight right under my eyes and try to cover up those terrible, terrible dark circles. Again, this is where you can either use a makeup sponge to blend or you can use your fingertips. I prefer fingertips because I feel like I have more control, but you do you, friends. So I'm just going to very gently pat that in. You can see that's not entirely getting rid of it, but it's going to be a starting place. This is my personal problem area. I never really feel like I can quite 100% get rid of them, but you know, faces be faces. So yeah, so now we've got a really nice layer of that. As we go through this, something to kind of keep in mind is that our application layer should be pretty thin. You should be using a lighter hand when you're putting your makeup on. It's kind of like it's like painting a wall. You want to go in with a couple of lighter layers as opposed to like putting a whole bunch of paint on the paintbrush and going all in at once. You're going to get an evener tone, you're going to get a nicer blend, and it's going to look more natural even if you have a really, really strong contour going on. So yeah, so that is going to be our first layer of under eye cream. And now we're going to go in with our highlight. So when I'm doing highlight and shadow for stage, even on intimate stages, I personally prefer to use the Ben Nye stuff. It has a really, really nice coverage. It gets really good color. You can get a really nice strong highlight and shadow, and it comes in a wide variety of colors for various skin tones. So this is my personal preference, but you can also legit go to Ulta, you can go to Sephora, you can go to CVS, and you can get highlight and shadow pretty easily now. Contouring is popular right now, so you can get a lot of this stuff. This is going to be where I'm going to use, sorry, my husband's feeling really loud. I don't know if you can hear that right now. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to use my makeup sponge to apply my highlight and my shadow. So when I'm doing a highlight, I personally tend to like to do a little highlight across the top of my forehead, and that's just going to give that a little bit of definition. I have a pretty big forehead, so I like to define it. The next thing that I like to do is highlight my nose. So we're going to go down the center of the nose, and you want to make sure you get underneath the nose as well. And we're going to go in and we're going to blend all of this once we put our shadow in. Like to highlight the kind of curved part of the chin right here. For some folks that's more or less pronounced, but I want to go ahead and give that a little bit of a highlight right there. Want to go ahead and highlight the top of the cheekbone. And typically, because I've got these under eye circles going on, I'm going to go in and just put a little bit of highlight on top of that under eye concealer as well. So I'm going to go in and highlight all the way back, and then I'm going to get into there as well. And you can see this is already starting to add some shape and some definition to my face. You can see the highlight, especially there right across the top of the cheekbone. That's called the zygomatic arch for all of our biology nerds out there. So highlighting that, you can see how that's already accentuating that cheekbone and giving the face more definition. The highlight across the nose is already starting to give that more definition as well. And this is starting to give the forehead some shape as well. There we go. Boom. And then the last thing that I like to do is, because I like to do some shadow to accentuate the jawline, typically I'm going to put just a little bit of highlight right on top of that jawline, just so that when I put that shadow in, it's going to make that look a little stronger, because I am vain and I like to look like I have a jaw, even though I don't really. There we go. So yeah, there we go. So you can see that highlight is already starting to do its job. Boom. All right, so once you get your highlight in place, so you can find my lid. Now we're going to go in with the shadow, and the shadow is going to help us accentuate that highlight and offer some definition as well. I'm going to use two different tools here. I'm going to use a different makeup sponge that I have obviously used previously for shadow, and then I'm also going to go in with a square brush and use that to get into some smaller areas with my shadow. So since I'm holding the brush, I'll go ahead and do that first. So I'm going to highlight, or I'm going to shadow the sides of the nose. And that's going to give my nose a little more depth and a little more definition. I'm going to do a little bit of shadow right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and shadow underneath the jawline here using my sponge. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull down here. And this looks really, really bold right now. We're going to go ahead and we're going to blend this out here in just a second. But I'm just getting that makeup applied right now. Typically, I'm going to try to pull that shadow down underneath my chin, because I know that's what works for me. You experiment with your face, see what works with you. And then I'm also going to do a little bit of a shadow right here underneath that zygomatic arch. So you can feel on your face, you can feel that cheekbone right there. And if you suck your cheeks in, you can see where that hollow is going to be right underneath that arch. And so that's going to be where you're going to want your shadow to be, underneath that highlight. And then I'm going to do a little bit of shadow right at the temples, just to give my forehead a little more definition. So yeah, so now I've got all of this light stuff and dark stuff all over my face. Now I'm going to go in, I'm going to blend it and make it look a little more natural. So for this, I do definitely like to use one of my little beauty blenders here. These are really great little tools, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to dab and kind of blend that down so that it looks a little more natural. Like so. And you can see how I'm going to go in and kind of work that highlight as well, so that it has just a really nice natural blended look, like so. Same thing right here under the chin. I'm going to go in with the point of my little beauty blender. I'm going to give that a little bit of a blend. I probably over accentuated that little divot, so I'm going to go in with a little more highlight and just kind of work that in. Oops. Go back in with a little bit of shadow because I overdid it. There we go. All right, now I'm going to do cheekbones. I'm going to dab and blend, dab and blend. You don't want to lose all of your shadow, but you definitely want to blend it in so that it looks more natural. Same thing on this side. Okay, I'm going to go in a little more highlight on top here and blend. I'm a firm believer in blending, also a firm believer in highlight. Yes, everything is terrible. My dog is whining. Oh, yep. Everything is awful. There we go. So now we've got a really great coverage. We've got great highlight around the eyes. Just go in with a little bit of highlight under the brow bone. Some folks like to really accentuate that to open up the eyes. I tend to do that with eyeshadow, but you can do that with your highlight as well. Let's go ahead and blend out anything we did up on the forehead. And now we're just going to blend sides of the nose. Just giving that a little bit of definition. Like so. And this lighting is pretty terrible, but you can see how having that contour is really helping define and shape the face. I'm going to go a little heavier on those cheeks. Like so. All right, so once you have your highlight and your shadow where you want it to be, now you're going to want to go ahead and set this. I personally like to use a two-step setting, or actually it's a three-step setting process. I like to use a skin-toned setting powder, skin-toned powder, and this is going to go ahead and just even everything out a little bit while it's setting. So I'm going to go in and just set on top using a powder that matches my foundation, matches my skin tone. Oops. And you can see how that gives you a nice, even effect. Really helping blend out all of those highlights and all of those shadows so that things look nice and even. All right, once I have my foundation toned powder on, then I like to do a neutral set powder on top, and that's just going to help again set all that makeup on place so that when you get under those terribly hot stage lights, it doesn't all melt off as soon as you step on stage. All right, and that is our basic corrective, our basic contouring sort of look. I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here, and then I'm going to pick up on the next one with a little bit of information about lips and eyes and eyebrows and all of that kind of extra stuff. But this is your good kind of basic stage foundational, basic stage corrective look. So here you go. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!